Hi, my name is Shannon Murray, and I am with Don Campbell. Hi, Don.
Hi, great to be here again. Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much for allowing me to interview today.
Oh, my pleasure.
If you don't know Don Campbell, he is the senior analyst with the Real Estate Investment Network, and he's also an author, but most importantly, he's a very good friend and also does a lot for the community and a philanthropist, actually, Canada-wide. So thank you again for your time. It's really, really valued.
Well, let's get right into what we're going to talk about because there's so many good things to talk about in this market.
There are so many things. I mean, you like to focus on the positive, and one of the things you say is you like to peel back the onion, you like to peel back the layers. So, people are looking at, global things worldwide and disasters and things like that. So how can you keep such a positive outlook?
The world is ending! Oh, sorry. Wrong website. Hey, here's the reality. The market's always going to be changing. The market's always going to be up and down. People have been saying that the market's going to collapse since 2008. So if anybody has paid any attention to anything in the world, since 2008 how much it's gone up. So you can be a bull, you can be a bear, but I like to be a pragmatist, somebody who looks at the numbers and makes my money work harder than I do.
Right, exactly. So you bring up a very good point, about the bull and the bear, and so people come to me looking at real estate investing, but they're also not sure because they're looking at get rich or they're looking at creating wealth, and there's so many opportunities out there, whether we have RRSPs or mutual funds, stocks and bonds. So what would you say to somebody that's just kind of looking at things all over?
The first thing I ask people is, what do you really want the financials to do for you? What do you want? Do you want cash flow, or do you want equity appreciation, or what is the thing that you're looking for? Because if you're not clear, guess what? You'll be chasing 25 rabbits, and 25 rabbits, you'll never catch any of them. And what I want you to do is really get clear on why you want to make more money. Is it because you have people to put through university, or do you want a cool car, or what is it? And by doing that, then it allows you to identify the type of investment. Now, in an up and down market, if you do it properly, you've got the stocks and bond market. Well, you can invest in it. Your returns can be controlled an awful lot more by somebody outside of you because the stock market has a lot of emotions around it, and it can be daily. I don't like daily roller coasters, but I do own stocks and bonds. And at the same time, if you get into the real estate, it's like a 3-course meal. You've got the appetizer, which is the cash flow. You've got the full meal entree, which is the mortgage pay down. And you've got the dessert if you've bought in the right town, which is the equity appreciation. So I like to be able to control it a little bit more than the money that I put in the stock market. I like to be able to add value in the real estate world, and that's why it works for me.
Excellent. And do you still invest in real estate today? I mean, you've been doing it for a while.
Absolutely. It's the place where I get the biggest return on my money. It's the one where I don't have to speculate, so I can buy properties in growing markets. I'd never buy properties because they're cheap. I want to buy property because it's got good value. And good value is what you should be looking for if you're watching this video, not try to save $1,000 on the purchase, but how do you increase the value and increase the cash flow $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. I hear it all the time. You make money when you buy. That's not true. Truthfully, you make money during the process of ownership and paying the mortgage down, eating the cash flow, and helping it fund your life. And even if it's $80 a month, hey, how many Starbucks can that buy you at the same time? Or if it's $8,000 a month, what kind of cool trips do you get to take with your family?
Right. And in terms of investing, when people are looking at that, how do people decide where they're going to buy?
Well, it has to be, once again, not cheap. Make sure you're buying in an area where population's growing, gross domestic product, in other words, the economy's growing, and in a region that's going through a very good transition. Barrie, for instance, when we started talking about Barrie, there weren't any towers really in the town. There was no GO train in the town, and now you're starting to see that region really be discovered by people who work in Toronto. Instead of living and working in Toronto, now they're living in Barrie, working in Toronto, because it's now accessible. So what you need to do is really pick an area that's going through transition, and at the same time make sure you get a really good realtor or two on your side who can find these properties for you.
Right. And speaking of which, in terms of geographical areas, didn't Rain, yourself and your team just release a report?
Yeah, we did. We every couple of years we release the top investment cities for the next 5-year window for not each province, for Ontario, British Columbia, and Alberta. So if you're investing anywhere, we've got those reports at raincanada.com. But yeah, absolutely. Barrie ranks very high in the list. Kitchener, Cambridge is #1 this year. Hamilton is #2. Barrie is right in #3. And that's out of, now let's be clear. I got somebody who said, oh, we're #9. I said, that's #9 out of 130 cities. It's not #9 out of 10. Right. So when you're looking at a town, make sure it's got the good growth. And that report, it's 126 pages long, so if you need something to put you to sleep, it's a good read. But at the same time, the extensiveness of the research is very strong.
Right, so just one note on that. They're going to go to raincanada.com, they're going to download your report, which I strongly advise, and they do not solicit you, I can guarantee that. Actually,
you know what? We just launched it to make it easy. It's topontarioTowns.ca.
Oh, even better.
Yeah,
so there's the website, you can download that. So someone watching this video then is going to look at those top towns, and then the first thing they're going to do is just call any realtor, right?
Oh, please don't. You need to build a relationship with somebody who understands investment real estate. Investment real estate's a different game than buying mom and dad's house. Mom and dad's house, there's motions, and you'll probably overpay for it, and it'll be in a neighborhood that's probably really crappy for investment, because investment is cash flow. You need a realtor. First off, ask the realtor if they actually own any of their own properties. Kind of important. If you're going to buy something from somebody, make sure they have some of their own experience in it. It's like picking an accountant. Always pick an accountant who understands your industry.
Right.
In the real estate world, there's lots of realtors who are excellent at mom and dad houses and driving them around and finding those spots, but there are very few that are excellent at finding those properties that are going to cash flow and actually be an investment instead of a speculation.
Just a quick question. What do you think about realtors, and no offense to any realtors, that do real estate and property management as well? So I'm not sure if you know, but I kind of switched out of the property management just so I could refer to a full-time property manager. That is their sole focus. So then as a realtor, my sole focus can be just purely on the investment properties.
Yeah, well, that's a choice in your corporation. Like some corporations will actually go out and, like a realtor will go and hire 2 or 3 property management specific experts. Listen, I like experts to be experts in what they do. And if you can be an expert in 2 things such as that and do a good job and not get overwhelmed and not let one of the sides down, well, good on you. I'm not that way. I want to be specific. And in your case, you want to be the best realtor on the planet, and the property managers better be focusing on being the best property managers on the planet. And once you start to mix them, sometimes it can get into trouble.
Right. And what do you think about self-managing?
Oh, I think you should self-manage for sure, because after the first year, you will pay somebody anything to manage that property on their own. I'm being a little bit facetious, but you can only find value in doing it yourself at the beginning and understanding that it is more important that you're buying property and setting the tone and setting the rents and setting the maintenance levels than actually doing that work. So you'll make a lot more money just going out and finding another investment property than answering the phone call from a tenant who has something stuck in the toilet.
Right. And then I believe that one of your comments before was it's important to manage your manager.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, you can't abdicate your responsibility. You delegate your responsibility, but you can't abdicate responsibility of the whole thing. You're the CEO of your rental property, even if it's just one. So you have to still be the leader. There's no excuses. You have to manage the managers and make sure they're doing their job.
Right. We see a lot of investment clubs and things like that come all over the place. So what do you think attributes to RAIN's success?
I think it's 22 and a half years now, and that we've been doing this, and we've been through enough ups and downs to understand that we know how to read the market 18 to 24 months in advance. We know that with our $4.25 billion worth of real estate, that we know how to move the market and make sure that they're in the right position. We know how to study the markets. This isn't get rich quick. And unfortunately, sometimes the get rich quick pitch is the thing that gets everybody's attention. And you know what? They will come and go, and the mentors will come and go, and the coaches will come and go, and we'll still be here with members who are been with us 20 years plus. It's a pretty exciting time.
Excellent. And then you've implemented some changes, so it's been a lot of growth, and then you want to make sure that the members always, create their business and better selves and so on, right?
Well, what's really important about RAIN is it's not just about real estate and how to negotiate the next deal and how to get that's important. That's really, really the foundation of it. But what happens when, like, you've been a member for 5 years and you now have $3 million or $4 million of net worth? What do? How do you live your life? What changes? So we've provided those pieces into it as well, so that actually, Real Estate Investment Network is a life program. It's a program on how to live life and how to be philanthropic and how to add value to your family and how to get more free time, being days versus doing days. All those different things are actually part of life. The unfortunate thing is that people race at get rich quick with real estate, and it'll always, always, always mess them up.
Right. What is one of the most common questions asked of you when people meet you for the first time?
Every time, airports or whatever, it's, so what do you think about the crash? It's like every time, what do you think about the crash? What do you think? I'm going, what crash? Did somebody crash the car? What's going on? Looking around, it doesn't make any sense. So inevitably if I'm tired, I have a very sarcastic answer to that, but I'm not tired, so I don't have a sarcastic answer right now. And the reality is that no market is homogenous. Like Canadian real estate market, you see reports come out, it just really, they're not accurate. They can't be accurate. You got minus 30 degrees in Toronto and plus 5 in Vancouver, so the average Canadian temperature is what, minus 20? I don't think so. So you need to regionalize, and that's what's really important. And then once you're in that regional analysis, then you can tell whether it's overpriced or underpriced. And as you know, Shannon, you've been a member for quite a long time, and you really start to be intuitive about where markets are going. Mm-hmm. And so that's the number one question. And the number two question or comment that I always get is, did you have webcams in my house when you wrote the first book, Real Estate Investing in Canada? And the first few times I got that, I'm going, I don't understand what you're talking about. But that book has a character of Richard and Emma, and they are a composite of many, many different investors. And people go, that's me. I'm Richard. How did you know that I made those mistakes? How do you know that Emma, my wife, is not supporting me and how we had to work our way through it? How do you know that we're not getting financing? Well, because $4.25 billion and 22 years later, we kind of know how it works and how it doesn't work.
Just a few more questions. One of the things about you that I love, you've been doing this for a really long time, successful, well sought out. I mean, everyone comes to you for your well sought out advice. How do you stay so grounded?
First off, I live on a farm. Second off, none of this at the beginning 22 years ago was about me. I was getting really disappointed, let's be truthful, angry about how people were getting taken advantage of and sold a bill of goods and their life savings being lost. So we just started this and that long ago to make a difference. I had no idea that we'd be raising $1 million for Habitat or have 3,500 members and 30,000 graduates and all these different ridiculous numbers. But truth is, that keeps me grounded. The other thing that keeps me grounded is I've been married for 26 years, and that lovely woman keeps me grounded. When I get home, she doesn't care I've been on TV like this. She cares that it's time to get the garbage out. And she's the love of my life.
Go build that shed.
Yeah, go build that shed. Whatever it is. You have to find a place where if you're coming from everything's about money, guess what happens? Everything becomes about money. And so when you don't make enough or you make too much, your brain explodes. For me, this is about, a foundation that my mom and dad gave me. Help as many people as you possibly can and you'll have everything you want in your life.
Right.
That's kind of how it works. Yeah.
Good. And you see some people, they become authors and then there's some sort of celebrity attached to that.
It's pretty easy, right? You get on the RAIN stage, or you get a book published, and suddenly you think you're almost walking on water. And I see it happen over and over and over. And anybody who's strategic and serious knows those people get themselves into trouble. And the reality is that you're making it about you. This isn't. If you want to be a true leader, it can't be about you. It has to be about the people who are reading your book, the people who are coming to see you, the whole game has to be about other people. And unfortunately, a lot of people buy their own press, read their own press, think that they're geniuses, and unfortunately what happens is they get into fifth gear on that Ferrari of life, and they hit the brick wall as hard as they possibly can. And you see it in the Justin Biebers of the world, all the way right to real estate authors, is once you start not questioning yourself, guess what? You immediately start getting bigger and bigger and bigger in your head, and suddenly you think that you're infallible, and that's when you make your big mistake, or you don't care anymore. And sadly, I see that increasingly more often. And then when you're a best-selling author, you get thrown everything. You want free drinks, free access, free dinner. Hey, here's 10 grand to go, blah, blah, blah. It happens. And if you start accepting that stuff, guess what? You start to believe it even more. So if you're going to make a difference, make a difference. If you're going to write a book. But don't buy into your own story.
Right. That's excellent advice. Just one more question. So somebody listening to this today, and they're just thinking about real estate investing, and what would you suggest, first of all, if they have the naysayers or the family around them and saying, you know what, that's just a really bad idea, and watching the headlines, what do you say to them right now?
I no longer argue with them, and nor should you. You should just say, you know what, you may be right, you may be wrong, but my research, the stuff that I've been reading, is different than the mainstream media, and therefore, guess what happens? I get to think differently than the mainstream media. I get to take action that's different than the average. And sometimes, and you can ask them this, because I ask this all the time, do you know anybody who's successful that does everything the same as everybody else? Well, no. Okay, well then why are we doing the same thing as everybody else and expecting to be successful? Makes no sense. You have to be a little bit off in order to be successful. You have to be perceived as a little bit weird, and I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Don, for your time. I just kind of wanted to add to that. If you are looking at investing, making sure that you create a team, do your research, and of course you are going to face some obstacles, and that's where people like Rain come in. Surround yourself by like-minded individuals, those other people that are looking to seek the same thing as you are, local groups or anything like that, authors, do some research, and you definitely can have some success, as Don can attest to, and even for myself, for your own personal wealth. And that's exactly what it is, personal.
Yeah.
Right?
Everything's personal.
Everything's personal. So thanks again, Don, for your time,
pleasure.
as
Thank you.
always.
Thank you for inviting me.
You can go to investinginbarrie.com for more information for me or for Don Campbell and his amazing team of experts, raincanada.com.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.